is to try to have these 6 concerts throughout the year. But they say there's going to be one day. They're going to allow the people to spend the night. So we're going to have more. That should be coming before you as far as permit process. So for the county,
We got a lot of stuff going on in North End.
we do.
Mr. Chairman.
It is the Wild West.
Yeah. So
I got it.
Supervisor.
First of all, Lieutenant, it's nice to meet you. I was in Covelo the other day, and you're having your officers, as you know, we are having problems getting resident deputies in Covelo, but your presence over there is greatly appreciated. Maybe the guy that's got his old trailer without license is taking his trash to the transfer station, not really. But other than, no, it really, I mean, more people calling me, and not probably single when I was over there, just,
good, thank you.
they appreciate that.
Yeah, we've made an
It's,
extra effort because talking to Sheriff Allman about his
just your
issues.
presence, not that, I mean, nobody likes to be wrote a ticket or something.
Yeah.
But just your visual presence is greatly appreciated over there.
Supervisor Smith.
Thank you. With respect to Reggae Rising, which is in my district, and the overtime that the captain mentioned, I really hope that there's a concerted effort to make sure that the event promoters pay their fair share for all of the costs associated with this. I think each year the county's done a little bit better job with our interface on the permitting, and I think we need to continue to work on this issue as more and more of these events come forward. There's quite a bit of impact to the infrastructure, and I think we need to make absolutely sure that that those that are promoting these events, yes, it puts a lot of money into the local economy, but there are also considerable profits being made. So I think on every level of health and safety, we need to make sure that the promoters are paying what it costs to cover all of the health and safety aspects of these major events. So I want to make sure that those costs are passed on to them and that you're duly compensated, and so is everyone else that's involved.
I absolutely agree. I think we've made a mistake in the past of allowing a blanket permit to go on for years and not reviewing it year by year. And I think we always need a clause that we can review these permits year by year and scrutinize them. I know People Production's trying very hard, and they've worked out a deal with the hospital in Garberville and the school district, but we need to stay on and scrutinize that.
Thank you.
And a couple of closing comments in regards to the traffic delays at Reggae. As the captain referred, our economy here is now agriculture and tourism. And it only takes one bad memory to turn the first-time tourists, to stop them from becoming the second-time tourists. And so your efforts are really appreciated to speed up that flow and keep things moving. And it's not easy with that many thousands of people. And when I say that, it's not taken lightly. It's with much gratitude. You mentioned Mr. Barsotti from the Black Oak Ranch in Laytonville. I believe he continues to be kind of like the pedestal of cooperation in regards to certainly traffic, paying for the turn lane there and all the electronic signaling devices they put in. You know, Bob's done a really good job. In regards to these added festivities at the Demick Ranch, these are all occurring in very rural parts of our county, and we're limited in our resources of law enforcement, and I concur with my supervisor colleague Smith that the promoters need to be paying their fair share to put that level of effort by public safety to the forefront, and it should not be impacting them negatively. So I think you can look for us to be making that statement publicly when those permits come to us. And I also agree that long-standing permits shouldn't just automatically roll over every year. Situations change. Certainly went from Reggae on the River to now the new title. That's a change, and the locations change, and those things. So the permit has to be reviewed on a timely basis to check those changes. So in closing, I think you guys are doing a great job with a limited amount of resources. Lieutenant, I beg my condolences for having to work with Officer Tom Sleeper, but you can pass that on to Tom. I have a long history with Tom, and it's all meant in good humor. And you have all good officers in the north part of the county, and Ray, you have all good officers throughout the county, and I do appreciate all your work. You bet. Thank you. To the supervisors, we had one additional item that we're going to try and take up before lunch. This is an item sponsored by Supervisor Delbar. If you don't mind, I think we'll put this off till later in the day so that he can be present. And unless there's any other items before us of a time-sensitive need, I think we'll recess for lunch at this point and come back at 1:30. Okay, so we'll be in recess. Afternoon. The Board of Supervisors is back in session for the afternoon, and let's start off. We have a timed item at 1:30 for the planning team presentation of the inclusionary housing options, and board discussion and direction regarding preparation of an inclusionary housing ordinance. Mrs. Glass, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Allison Glassy, Assistant CEO, and this afternoon we are focusing on one of several priority projects of the planning team. Today it happens to be a discussion of the inclusionary housing ordinance. I'll give you a brief update also on the planning team in that you may or may not be aware that Phil Gorney, as the planning team manager, has, I don't know what the term is, retired or whatever. He is still joining us on Fridays and coordinating a couple of tasks, but he is not available to us at the level of hours that he was before. And so we are kind of proceeding as we can and continuing to look for a replacement for him. And he and I are actually looking at a possible other contract replacement while we do kind of a full court press recruitment, which will be coupled with the recruitment for the planning and building director. So we're kind of trying to do a number of things at once. So I just wanted to let you know that that was the status of the coordination of the planning team at this point. So back to the inclusionary housing ordinance. There are several, I would say there are 3 priority projects that the planning team has been engaged in since its beginning, and then we're starting to add some others around the sides, and that is the Ukiah Valley Area Plan, the General Plan Update, and the follow-through and implementation of the housing element from the last General Plan. What we're looking at around the sides now are the Mendocino Town Plan, and then beginning to look at what a process might be for updating the local coastal plan. The housing element has a lot of elements within it, and we've dealt with several along the way, the latest one being the 50-acre rezone. Another element of the housing element is the inclusionary housing ordinance, and in fact the housing element calls for that to be reviewed, discussed, and for an inclusionary housing ordinance to be adopted by the Board of Supervisors in Mendocino County. So it is in following up on that aspect of the housing element that brings us here today. I want to be really clear about what we're doing today and what we're not doing today. What we are doing today is kind of bringing you up to date on the work of the staff in looking at the background of the housing, inclusionary housing ordinance. And the last time this